How's it going, everybody, and welcome back. We're going to try to mag drill today. So VEVOR reached out, and I've seen the name VEVOR so many times on a million different things, but I've never actually owned any of their stuff. So when they asked me to review this mag drill, I was like, man, mag drills are awesome. And I used to use them way back in the day, but I used big hydraulic ones, and they were pretty sweet. So one thing about mag drills is you don't use them all the time, really, but when you need them, they're the best thing for the job. So we're gonna give it a shot and see. I think this is called the ZT-45H. Comes with a couple of little annular cutters and a Jacob's chuck and whatnot. So we're gonna give it a shot. I gotta mount my my vise up to the bench, and this is 1/2-inch plate, so it's a perfect job for a mag drill. Let me show you what it comes with. Give you a really super fast rundown on what a mag drill is in case you're unfamiliar. It's usually a gear reduction drill body on an arbor press with an electromagnetic base. And the electromagnets are pretty strong. This one has a variable speed spindle. It does use a Weldon shank type of spindle, so the 2 set screws right there. Magnet on, drill body, drill on, forward and reverse, and then, of course, you got your variable speed for whatever. They do say that you can tap with this since it's got reverse, but I don't like tapping by hand enough to even try tapping with a machine, but you're welcome to try. They say it's a thing that you can do, and the speeds are really low on this too. So there is that. One thing that's nice about this drill that I noticed is that it has gibs so that you can adjust it if it starts to wear in over time or you're using it a lot and it starts to try to fall down or something. You can just put your Allen wrenches in there and tighten them up. So basically the same type of deal as a lathe or a mill uses. Comes with a couple of annular cutters. That's what they look like, kind of like an end mill sort of. And it's got your center pin. This particular one has a 1/2-inch by 1 and a 5/8 by 1 annular cutter. And it is the ZT-45H, 1450 watt. So, got this Jacob's chuck, like your standard drill that you're used to using. It has a Weldon shank to Jacob's chuck taper, thing, whatever. So you would just put that in there like so. Give her a little tap. Now you've seated it. That's all you need. You don't have to really beat these things in with those tapers. So that's it. This also has a coolant reservoir or a lube reservoir, which is kind of nice. You mount it up here by those 2 screws right there, and you can adjust in however much lubrication or cooling you want. It goes through this little tube into the compression fitting or push fitting right there, and that's it. Comes with a strap. So the fun thing about these mag drills is you can put them upside down. You can put them on like the side of something. Anywhere that they'll stick, they'll work typically, but you still want to strap them up to something in case you had like a power loss or you pulled the plug out or something. You don't want this big heavy beast falling on your head because it's pretty beefy. So it does come with a safety strap. There is that. So yeah, you can mount up your coolant tank, or you can just spray coolant or whatever you want to do by hand. It's got your chuck key and just all the stuff. You can get all kinds of different annular cutters or drill bits. Typically, though, with these things, because there's not a lot of room, you don't have a ton of. You got to use a stubby drill bit. So use the old Starrett here. Got about 5.5 inches from the bottom of the spindle to the base of the table, or whatever your table or whatever you're using. So you've got 5.5 inches of total room, and you have to take into consideration that you do have to put your bit up in there. So, whatever size bit you're using, focus, there we go. I guess not. So anyhow, you got to take that into consideration unless you got some other use case for it. But that's it. There's not a ton of room, but it is what it is. So anyhow, I want to mount this thing up. We do have this smaller 1/2-inch annular cutter, which I guess we can use on the table here. So we might as well give it a shot and get my vise mounted up. This thing's pretty easy to use. This is your center pin, so you can align this, so you know where you're going to be cutting to. And then you just align the flats. It's a tight fit, so, that's the idea. So you just tighten these things up. and then you should be pretty much good to go. Again, you don't have to get crazy tight with these. The flats are, you know, there to keep it from spinning, but you don't also want to strip these set screws out either. You shouldn't, but you don't have to get crazy tight, just good and snug. There we go. This is pretty small for the vise, but you know, it is what it is. Since I don't have a ton of options as far as annular cutters go, I'm just going to go with this smaller bolt, which is of course way too small for these big huge spots here. So we're going to just use some washers. I'm going to lay out where the holes should go on here, and then we can just mark, you know, center punch it, and then that's where that pin will index to, and then we can drill away. All right, put a little bit of layout fluid, some Dyken Blue on here, mount up the vise roughly where we want it. Should about do it. Mark her out. And we got our marks. Just center punch it. Like I said, we've got so much like room. Now let's see what this thing is like. I haven't really used it, so figured we'd use it together and see. I turned it on, but really that's about all I've done. So let's kind of get her set up. So you slide it around until you're over the spot that you need it to be on. She's pretty much there. It's kind of snugged in. All right, got some oil. I'm not even going to use the lube right now, but essentially just turn the magnet on. And the magnet, she ain't going anywhere. So back this thing out. You know, it is a super freaking hard magnet. So spindle speed all the way down. Turn that drill on. And there we go. Now the one thing I did notice is this is reversed. So it says left. You would expect it to go counterclockwise, but it doesn't. It goes, you know, to the right, clockwise. And then 0, you know, you got it off. And then right, you'd expect it to go clockwise, but it goes counterclockwise. So I guess if you're using left-hand drills, then it would be right. But anyway, whatever. So let's cut on into here and see how it goes. Get some oil. Should be enough. Oh, she bogs down some, huh? Alright. We're on 4. Oh, let's see how high it goes. I don't know, maybe I didn't have enough juice to it. Like I said, I'm used to the hydraulic ones, not these. Putting that much pressure on it, it's cutting good. And there we are. Definitely bird's nests a little bit, so something to keep in mind, kind of like a lathe. There we are. Let's see if my bolt fits. Perfect. Well, the cutter didn't take any damage. Still sharp. These are high-speed steel, so yeah. I wasn't pushing that hard. It was biting in good, so at least the cutters are, you know, pretty decent. You know, they'll do the job. This is just mild steel, obviously, but yeah, I'd be curious to know how they would fare with some harder steel, but you'd probably want some different cutters. So we'll get this one in place. There we go. And then, yeah, I'll show you how strong this magnet is. It's crazy. All right, if we turn this thing on, I'm telling you, this thing is on there. She ain't going anywhere. Yeah, the magnet is super strong. So you're not going to be pulling this thing off anytime soon. It's kind of fun. So super giant beefy electromagnet, and it's still right on the money too. With our spot. I'm not even going to bother resetting it. She's loud though. So that being said, As far as it bogging down, I don't know. Maybe it's just the speed change a little bit because I had it set really low. What does it go to again? It goes up to 10. Yeah, and I had it at 4 or 3 or something like that. So what are we going to set it to? We'll set it to 5. Pushing that hard. I do want to break the ship. All right, back to back out so you can kind of see roughly where this is at. So that's 1, 2. That's where we're at, 5. Number 3. And that's basically all there is really to using a mag drill. There we go. We're in there. Like swimwear. All right. We're on L for forward. Now let's put some Earl on it. One thing keep in mind though, if you're using oil, it's nice to be able to start slow because, oops, there we go. Because it won't sling the oil all over you. So you can get it started first. To let it kind of ease up. I'll try to stall it and see what happens. So what are we on? We're on like 1.5. We're on 2. Well, that's a lot. Oh man, I'm hogging on. I don't know how to. I'd probably just drawn a ton of current. Yeah, I'm trying to think. It sounds weird, like it's stalling, but then it starts to pick up speed again. You know, it's one of those things. I want to test it for you guys, but I also don't want to ruin it. You know what I mean? Like, I can abuse it, and I'm sure I can get it to break, but, you know, I'm happy to have it. I don't want to ruin it. So I'm really forcing it down. Alright, so we got the little plug. So now, these, because they're hollow, they make like these little rivets. Pull that rivet out and keep on chugging. So the little rivet things, and you get these because, you know, it's a hollow cutter. And the reason it'll stop is because we're using this guide pin here, the centering pin. If you're not using that, you could probably punch it straight through. Now, whether or not the pin is, you know, too long or whatever, I don't know. I never used the center pin whenever I was using stuff before. I don't even remember, so long ago. I don't really remember how it worked, but maybe it did. Maybe it was just a little bit long. Anyway, that's why it stopped. So you can choose to use it, choose not to, but essentially all I did was whenever the pin is longer than the top part of that shank, which might just be because of this cutter. Maybe on this one, it might be a little bit, this cutter might be a little bit longer, which allows the pin to recess up in there farther and then evacuate your little you know, rivet thing or center part or whatever it is. But regardless, that's what the deal. You just go down until it stops, and then that's broken off. Grab your magnet, pull it out, and then continue chugging. And it seems to cut through like crazy. Those are nice chips. And you can see it makes a lot of really nice chips. So you can see how hard I was pushing, if you're familiar with you know, machining or whatever. These are pretty extreme spirals. So, you know, I was pushing down hard on it. Especially right there, look at that. I was really hogging on it. All right, well, let's see how the magnet works. We're going to put it upside down underneath the table, actually. See what's up. Like I said, she's heavy. We're just going to drill a random hole. I bumped it. Alright, well, it's on. It's on there. Alright, well, she's stuck up there. We'll see if it falls. We're on 2, turn up to 4. There we go. See, that's pretty fun. All right, one thing to keep in mind when you're using this is the magnet width is about 3.5, 3.25, something like that. If you try to use it on something that doesn't take up the whole width of the magnet, regardless if it's this one or any other one, it has a potential to pop off, like because you're not utilizing the whole part of the magnet. So if you are going to use a mag drill, whether it's this one or any other one, be aware of the contact part of the magnet itself and try not to use it on anything like that, because if you put pressure on it, it's going to fall off and hurt you. So you got to really be aware of the width of the space and how much of the contact area of the mag drill you're using. Well, unfortunately, as far as the vise goes, yeah, my bolts are not long enough because apparently underneath here there's a bracket that is welded in about that far. Yeah, so you can see I'm through it. Anyway, whenever you put this thing through, there's not enough meat there to go through the vise. So, got to get some longer bolts before I can do any of that. But otherwise, the mag drill worked exactly as intended. So, yeah, pretty cool. I was going to hang it from the lift arms and then me hang from it because I'm pretty confident that the magnet will hold, but it's heavy and I'm working over my head and I'm out here by myself, and I just thought, well, that's a lot of unnecessary risk just for part of the video. Other than that, though, the drill holes are pretty nice. They're pretty sweet. This is one that was in there from, I don't know, whoever had it before me, which is kind of cool, but wrong spot. So, yeah, I mean, it did a good job right through. You can see how sharp it is in there. So that's really down to the cutter themselves, and it still looks great. This one, rather. I looked at it before. Looks super good. And I will say that I don't know what brand cutters these actually are, but man, they really chew through this mild steel. even without really using any lube other than this is motor oil. This is like 1030 or something in there. But yeah, worked out pretty good. All right, it seemed to work pretty good for what I did. Now, granted, I didn't put it through any super hardcore stuff, but I don't really have any super hardcore stuff here to try it out on. So I did the best I could with what I had, and you know, I tried it out and it worked fine. The magnet held, and really that's the hallmark of a mag drill. If the magnet doesn't hold, then it's useless as a mag drill. But you know, it seemed to work just fine, and the cutters were nice and sharp, and there wasn't a ton of run out or anything like that. It worked okay. Now, when I first got the email from VEVOR, now again, I told you I've heard this name everywhere, like from every kind of product conceivable, from radiators to I think furniture and kitchen appliance. Like there's so much stuff that has the VEVOR name on it. I was like, all right, I'll check this thing out. But when they sent me some links, say, hey, do you want to review this mag drill? I looked them up online and I looked at some reviews and whatever, and I came across some recalls for mag drills for electrical hazards. Now, I was like, I sent that person a message, and it wasn't these model numbers or anything. It was for a different product or whatever, but it was still a mag drill. So I sent him a message, and I was like, what's going on with these electrical hazard recalls? Because I'm not going to touch anything if it has any recall. I'm not going to potentially hurt a viewer or promote anything or even review anything that you know, whatever, has a recall. And what I got back was that, you know, they've been totally redesigned electrically and they look the same because the, you know, whatever, the housings are the same, but internally they're all changed and they're up to date, and there isn't any way that these are on the recall list. So that's what I got back. Take it for what you will on that. You know, I don't know the company. I don't know anything really about it. It's the first product of theirs that I've used, so use your own judgment. They do say that they're safe and they've been totally redesigned, so I'll take them for what they say, I guess. Seemed to work just fine, and I put a pretty good load on it. I didn't really see any problems or whatever, but you know, mag drills are cool if you need one. I try to do reviews of things that I think are cool that I can use around the shop, and if I can use them, I know that you guys can use them. I get a ton of, you know, requests to review lots of different things, and there are very few of them that I actually do review. I only do things that I think, you know, one of you guys would like. So I tried out the mag drill, because if you're doing like body stuff or frame stuff and you're relocating mounts and you're cutting holes in big heavy steel, or if you're building your own shop or whatever, mag drills are super handy to have. They're way nicer to use than a hand drill. So if you're in the market for a mag drill, maybe check it out. All of their information will be down in the video description. I think there's like a 5% off coupon or something like that down there. I don't get any kickback or anything from that, and even if I did, I wouldn't care, because that's not why I review these. I review them, you know, to see what the tool's like and help you guys make an informed decision and all of that. But you guys can check out all their information down in the video description, and basically that's it. So hopefully you liked it. Hopefully it was informative and helped you out. Other than that, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one.